Top HFY stories. Humans crave more. In the vast galactic expanse, the beings of the United Star Species Coalition, USSC, had long believed that humanity was a fleeting anomaly, a species that would either implode from its own chaos or fade into obscurity. For centuries, the Coalition had observed the rise and fall of countless civilizations, each bound by their own limitations, desires, and fears. Then came the humans. At first, they were dismissed as insignificant, a species from a backwater planet orbiting an unremarkable star. But as humanity began to explore the stars, something became increasingly evident. They were not like the others. Humanity's hallmark was not just survival but the relentless pursuit of more. Captain Dralvers of the Zenthari delegation had read countless reports on humanity. They were fascinating in a chaotic way, an aggressive, ambitious species that had spread like wildfire across the stars in mere centuries. He had never encountered them personally, and today, he was nervous. The humans had called for a meeting, something about a new frontier. The Zenthari captain arrived at the appointed station, a vast structure orbiting a binary star system. Inside, the humans' delegation greeted him warmly. Their leader, Ambassador Elena Vasquez, wore the same strange mix of confidence and curiosity that characterized every human Dralvers had seen in the Coalition's archives. "We're honored to have you here, Captain Dralvers," Elena began, her voice measured but warm. "We've come across an opportunity that we believe will interest the Coalition." "An opportunity?" Dralvers asked, his elongated fingers twitching nervously. "What kind of opportunity?" Elena smiled, a sharp, knowing smile. "Exploration, beyond the Great Void." The Great Void, a place every species in the Coalition considered the edge of the known universe, a vast expanse of darkness and mystery, devoid of stars, planets, or life. No species had ever dared to cross it. "No one goes beyond the void," Dralvers said, his voice firm. "It is madness. Even the most advanced species in the Coalition agree it is impassable." "Impassable doesn't mean impossible," Elena countered. "It just means no one's figured it out yet. That's where we come in." In the months that followed, humanity's plans to cross the Great Void became the talk of the Coalition. Other species watched in disbelief as humans pooled resources, designed experimental technologies, and began preparations for the impossible journey. The Coalition sent emissaries, scientists, and skeptics to witness humanity's efforts. Some hoped to learn from their inevitable failure, others feared what might happen if they succeeded. Dralvers found himself aboard the human vessel Endeavour, a massive ship bristling with innovations that defied conventional logic. As the engines roared to life, he couldn't help but ask Elena the question that had been burning in his mind. "Why do you do this? Why risk everything to cross the void? What could possibly drive you to seek what lies beyond?" Elena's expression softened, but her eyes burned with intensity. "Because it's there," she said simply. "Because we have to know, to grow, to push past our limits. It's who we are. We crave more, not just for ourselves, but for everyone. If we find something out there, it won't just change humanity, it'll change everything." As the Endeavour plunged into the Great Void, the galaxy held its breath. Would humanity succeed? Would they fail? Or would they awaken something that had been slumbering in the darkness? No one knew. But one thing was certain: humanity's hunger for more would either lead them to unimaginable glory, or unthinkable destruction. Either way, the galaxy would never be the same again. The first days in the Great Void were silent and disorienting. The absence of stars, of any reference point, was unnerving even for the humans. For Dralvers, it was unbearable. The Zenthari captain had relied on the comforting constellations of his ancestors for navigation, but here, there was nothing but blackness. "I don't understand how your kind functions in this emptiness," Dralvers muttered to Elena as they stood on the bridge of the Endeavour. Elena smiled faintly, her gaze fixed on the vast emptiness outside the viewport. "We're used to darkness. We've had to push through it for millennia, whether it was our ancestors facing unknown seas, or pioneers navigating uncharted skies. Darkness is just a challenge to overcome." Her words stirred something in Dralvers, an unease that had been growing since he stepped aboard. Humans were unlike anything he'd ever encountered. They weren't just explorers, they were predators, in their own way. relentlessly pursuing the unknown with a hunger that bordered on obsession. Days turned into weeks, the Endeavour pressed deeper into the void, its experimental engines humming with steady power. Humanity's scientists worked tirelessly, analyzing faint energy signatures and patterns in the emptiness. And then, something changed. "We're picking up a signal," one of the human technicians called out. Dralva's head snapped toward the console. "Impossible, the void is lifeless, everyone knows that." Elena leaned over the technician's shoulder, her face illuminated by the glowing data streams. "It's faint, but it's repeating, a pattern, definitely artificial." The room buzzed with activity as humans scrambled to decipher the signal. Dralvas watched in stunned silence. No other species would have dared to interpret this as anything but random noise, but the humans didn't just see patterns, they saw possibilities. The signal led them to a strange phenomenon, a sphere of light, pulsating faintly in the darkness. It was massive, dwarfing even the Endeavour. The closer they approached, the more the ship's systems began to act erratically. Energy readings spiked, gravity fluctuated. "This is beyond anything we've ever encountered," whispered Drive, Malik, the ship's lead scientist. "It's ancient." "Ancient doesn't mean dead," Elena said, her voice tinged with excitement. "Prepare a probe." As the probe launched toward the sphere, Dralvas felt a wave of apprehension. "Are you sure this is wise? Some things are better left undisturbed." "That's not how we work," Elena replied. "If it's out here, it's meant to be found." The probe relayed stunning images of intricate patterns etched into the sphere's surface, symbols that seemed to shimmer and shift as though alive. Then, as the probe moved closer, the sphere reacted. A surge of energy erupted from its surface, engulfing the probe in a brilliant light. For a moment, all systems aboard the Endeavour went dark. When they came back online, a voice resonated through the ship's comm system. "WHO dares awaken the forge?" The words sent a chill through everyone on board. Dralva's scales rippled with fear. "You've angered it, whatever it is, it sees us as intruders." But Elena's expression remained steady. "We're not intruders, we're explorers." The voice spoke again, its tone less hostile now, but still commanding. "Explorers? Your kind has not reached this far before, you are different." Elena stepped forward, addressing the entity directly. "We are humans, and yes, we're different. We seek to learn, to grow, we mean no harm." The sphere pulsed, as if considering her words. "Humans, your kind has potential, but potential without purpose is dangerous." "Then guide us," Elena said boldly. "If there's something we must learn, teach us. If there's something we must face, we will face it, but we will not stop." For what felt like hours, the sphere remained silent. Then, slowly, it began to open. A gateway of light appeared, leading into its core. "Enter, if you dare, but know this, the path ahead will test not just your resolve, but your very nature. Many have tried, none have returned." Elena turned to her crew, her face a mixture of determination and awe. "This is it, the reason we're here." Dralvas shook his head, his voice trembling. "You don't know what's inside. This could destroy you, destroy all of us." Elena's gaze softened as she looked at him. "Maybe, but if we don't try, we'll never know what we're capable of." And with that, the Endeavour began its journey into the light, humanity's unrelenting hunger driving them forward into the unknown. The galaxy watched, the coalition waited, and humanity, as always, craved more. As the Endeavour passed through the gateway of light, time and space seemed to warp. The crew felt a strange pull, as though reality itself was unraveling and stitching itself back together around them. The void outside the ship shifted, no longer empty but filled with swirling, iridescent patterns, fragments of stars, shattered worlds, and streams of energy that defied comprehension. "Status report," Elena ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. "Systems are operational, but readings are strange," replied Lieutenant Harper, the ship's navigator. "It's like physics doesn't work the same way here." "Captain, Drive," Malik interjected, his eyes glued to his monitor. "The energy signatures we're detecting. They're beyond anything in the Coalition's database. If I didn't know better, I'd say we've entered a space outside our universe." Dralvas gripped the edge of the console, his elongated fingers trembling. This place. It feels alive. We should not be here. Elena glanced at him. We've come too far to turn back now. As the ship moved deeper into the mysterious realm, the crew began to experience strange phenomena. Some heard whispers, soft, unintelligible voices that seemed to echo in their minds. Others reported vivid visions of distant places, memories they didn't recognize, or futures that hadn't yet come to pass. It's like this place is testing us, said Malik during a briefing, probing our thoughts, our intentions. It's not just energy we're interacting with, it's something sentient. What does it want? Dralvas asked, his tone sharp with unease. Maybe it's deciding if we're worthy, Elena said, or if we're dangerous. The ship eventually arrived at a colossal structure suspended in the void, a city-sized construct made of shimmering, translucent material. Towers rose into the void, their surfaces etched with the same symbols they had seen on the sphere. Streams of light flowed through the structure like rivers, giving it an almost organic appearance. Scans indicate breathable atmosphere within the structure, Harper reported. It's inviting us in. Or luring us to our doom, Dralvas muttered. Elena turned to the crew. Prepare an away team, we're going in. The away team consisted of Elena, Dralvas, Malik, and a few others. They donned lightweight exploration suits and entered the structure through a massive archway. Inside, the air was cool and filled with a faint hum, like a song just out of reach. As they moved deeper, the walls around them came alive with light, forming patterns and images. The symbols shifted, morphing into scenes that seemed to tell a story of creation, of vast civilizations rising and falling, and of a force that sought to control it all. Malik stopped, his voice trembling with awe. This isn't just a structure, it's a repository, a record of something ancient, something powerful. Elena approached one of the glowing walls, her hand hovering just above its surface. A record of what? Before anyone could answer, the floor beneath them shifted, light spiraled upward, coalescing into a humanoid figure made of shimmering energy. Its form was elegant yet imposing, its eyes glowing with a deep, otherworldly intensity. You have entered the Forge of Ascension, the figure said, its voice resonating in their minds as much as in their ears. Only those who seek to transcend their limits may proceed. What do you mean by ascension? Elena asked, stepping forward. The figure regarded her, its glowing gaze unreadable. To ascend is to evolve beyond the constraints of your flesh, your fears, your frailty, to become one with the cosmos, yet still yourself. Dralvas hissed softly, this is madness, no species is meant to wield such power. The figure turned its gaze to him, fear is the true madness, it binds you to your weakness, only the brave can truly evolve. Elena straightened, her voice unwavering, what must we do to prove ourselves? The figure gestured, and the walls around them shifted, forming a massive chamber filled with floating platforms, shifting barriers, and streams of light. Face the trials, prove your worth, but be warned, failure will mean your end. The trials were grueling, testing not just physical endurance but the limits of the crew's minds and spirits. They faced challenges that forced them to confront their deepest fears, their darkest memories, and their most dangerous desires. One trial brought Elena face to face with a vision of Earth in ruins, consumed by humanity's greed and ambition. This is what will happen if you continue your reckless pursuit, a voice whispered, turn back, and you might save them. But Elena clenched her fists, her resolve unshaken. We're not defined by our past mistakes, we learn, we grow, and we keep moving forward. Another trial forced Dralvas to confront his own species' complacency. He saw a vision of the Zenthari homeworld, stagnant and lifeless, its people content with their mediocrity. You fear humanity because they remind you of what you've lost, a voice taunted. I don't fear them, Dralvas finally admitted, tears streaming down his face. I envy them. As the trials concluded, the team stood battered but unbroken before the energy figure. It regarded them silently for a long moment before speaking. You have proven yourselves, humanity has the potential to ascend, but it is a dangerous path. Take this knowledge, and choose your future wisely. A beam of light shot into Elena's chest, flooding her mind with visions, blueprints for advanced technologies, glimpses of future possibilities, and the weight of the responsibility that came with them. When the team returned to the Endeavour, the gateway behind them began to close. The ship's engines roared to life as it made its way back to the galaxy, forever changed. As the Endeavour emerged from the void, the Coalition hailed them as either heroes or fools. The humans didn't care. They had tasted the unknown, faced it, and returned with more than they ever dreamed. But deep in her heart, Elena knew the journey wasn't over. The Forge had shown them what they could become, but the choice to embrace it, or to fall prey to their own hunger, was theirs alone. And humanity, as always, craved more. The return of the Endeavour to Coalition space sent shockwaves through the galactic community. Rumors of what humanity had encountered in the Great Void spread like wildfire. Every species, from the cautious Centauri to the analytical Volra, wanted answers. Some were intrigued, others deeply fearful, but none could deny the truth. Humanity had done the impossible, and they were no longer just newcomers in the galactic arena. They were something else entirely. Elena sat in the captain's quarters, the dim light casting long shadows across the room. The weight of the Forge's knowledge pressed heavily on her mind. Her memories of the vision were fragmented, like a puzzle she couldn't yet piece together. She had seen humanity's potential, a future where they transcended their limitations, harnessing the raw power of the universe itself. But she had also seen the cost, the fractures that ambition could cause, the dangers of wielding power without wisdom. The door chimed, pulling her from her thoughts. "Come in," she called. "Drive." Malik entered, holding a datapad. His usual scientific exuberance was tempered by caution. "We've analyzed the blueprints the Forge gave us," he said, placing the pad on her desk. "It's remarkable. These designs are centuries, maybe millennia, ahead of anything we've ever dreamed of." Elena scanned the data. Energy generators that could power entire planets indefinitely, medical technology that could eliminate disease, weapons capable of reshaping battlefields. Her stomach churned. "And what's your take, Malik? Should we use it?" He hesitated, then sighed. "It's not a question of if, but how. This technology could elevate humanity to heights we've never imagined. Or it could destroy us." Elena leaned back, rubbing her temples. "It's a double-edged sword. If we don't use it, someone else will, and if we do, we risk becoming the very thing the Coalition fears." Malik nodded. "That's the burden we've been given. It's up to us to wield it responsibly." Meanwhile, across the Coalition, the ramifications of humanity's journey were being debated in frantic urgency. In the grand halls of the Zenthari Council chamber, Captain Dralvas stood before his people, recounting his experience aboard the Endeavour. "They are not like us," he said, his voice trembling with both fear and awe. "They are not bound by the same rules, the same fears. They face the unknown not with caution, but with hunger. It is both their strength and their greatest danger." An elder Xanthari hissed softly, "Then they must be stopped. If humanity has gained power from the void, they could destabilize the galaxy." Dralvas shook his head. "You don't understand. You can't stop them. If we try, they'll only push harder. The only way forward is to work with them, to ensure their ambition doesn't spiral into chaos." Back on Earth, the return of the Endeavour was met with celebration and unease. World leaders, scientists, and philosophers gathered to discuss the implications of the Forge's gift. The blueprints had been shared with key human factions, sparking fierce debates over how to proceed. In a secure conference room at the United Earth Council headquarters, Ambassador Elena Vasquez addressed a panel of global representatives. "The Forge didn't just give us technology," she said, "it gave us a choice. We can use this knowledge to unite humanity, to address the challenges we face together, or we can let it divide us, turning its power into a weapon for conquest and destruction." One representative, a gray-haired woman from the Pacific Coalition, leaned forward. "And what of the other species in the Coalition? They won't take kindly to humanity leaping ahead of them." "We share what we can," Elena replied. "We show them we're not here to dominate but to collaborate. This isn't just about humanity's future, it's about the galaxy's." But not everyone saw it that way. In the shadows of humanity's newfound glory, dissent began to grow. Rogue factions within humanity believed the Forge's power should be used to assert dominance over the Coalition. to claim the galaxy as their own. Whispers of rebellion spread, and tensions simmered. At the same time, certain coalition species began plotting against humanity, fearing what they might become. Espionage, sabotage, and covert alliances formed as old fears and rivalries resurfaced. Elena knew that the true test of humanity's character wasn't surviving the void, it was what came next. The Forge had given them tools, but it hadn't given them wisdom. That was something they would have to find on their own. As she stood on the bridge of the Endeavour, looking out at the stars, she felt the weight of the galaxy pressing down on her. The journey into the Great Void had shown her what humanity could achieve, but it had also revealed the dangers of their unrelenting hunger. Set course for Coalition space, she ordered. We've got work to do. As the engines roared to life, Elena couldn't help but wonder, was humanity ready for what lay ahead? Would their craving for more lead to enlightenment, or to ruin? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain, the galaxy had underestimated humanity, and they were just getting started.